Good morning. We have the pleasure today to be with Davis Brady. He was the class president from the class of 2019, and he is now a freshman at Wake Forest University. Thanks for being here today, Davis.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. We have lots of questions for you, especially for our rising seniors.
Yes.
They have a lot of questions about the whole process of college, and our current seniors are now curious about how the transition into college goes.
For sure.
So I want to ask you a few things along those lines.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, great. How long have you been a student at Wake Forest?
Yeah, so I just started my first semester this past fall, and so 4 months, I guess.
Okay, now how did you become a student ambassador for Wake Forest and so quickly?
Yes, so we actually received an email about potentially becoming a student ambassador, and I knew being like a tour guide and somebody on my campus who kind of showed people what Wake Forest was something that I did want to do in the future, and this was like a good like first step to that. And so I was like, I love CAK, I love Wake Forest. And so mixing the both of those is just the best of both worlds. So
that's great.
I just applied and had a short interview and then was accepted.
And here you are with your Wake.
That's right.
By the way, what is the mascot for Wake Forest?
Yeah, so it's the Demon Deacon.
And
interesting. I know. And I was actually researching into that a little bit, and it used to be a Baptist school, and so that's where the deacon comes from. And then the demon came from like a reporter once said. Was talking about the players' devilish play on the field. So then they kind of coined the name Demon Deacons back in like, I think the 1970s maybe? It was a long time ago. So.
Okay, well that's fun to know the background of the mascot, kind of like the Volunteers.
Yes.
We have a great heritage with our mascot.
That's right.
Here locally. What are you studying at Wake Forest?
So I've decided to study chemistry with a minor in Spanish.
Miss Sired is proud, I'm sure.
Well, she's prepared me well, for sure.
That's great. Is it going to be hard to work a major and a minor at a tough institution?
Yes, but it's very doable. There's a lot of resources that they'll help you set up your classes perfectly, and you have tons of friends who are doing the same, some even doing double majors, some even... I don't know if there's any triple majors, but I think it is possible to where they're taking a lot of classes. But it's challenging in general, but it's not overwhelming, I wouldn't say.
Okay, and your advisors help you kind of plot out that course?
Yeah, so you have a freshman year advisor, a faculty advisor, and a freshman year student advisor who both give you input, one more like of a personal input and one more of an academic input. Who can just like really guide you through, and they try to match you with somebody who's in your major. So I declared chemistry, and my advisor is also a chemistry major, and so it really works out to where like she knows exactly what I need to take and kind of advises me through that. So
is she a senior?
She is, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. What was it that made you? I know by being your school counselor that you applied to several different colleges. What was it that made Wake Forest stand out?
Yeah. So Wake was really a perfect combination of everything for me. It had incredible academics. It had really perfect size for me, about 5,000, not too many, but not too few. It was a beautiful campus, not too far from home, and just a little bonus was it had good athletics, which was just super fun, you know. And I've realized I really appreciate throughout the semester. It's been fun getting to watch top level football and basketball and such. And this isn't something, I've learned this isn't something you really know going into school, but the people are just incredible. And so I think you can kind of get a feel for that when you're on the campus, but you don't really know that until you get down there and get to like meet people. So that all of those combined just made it like a really clear choice for me.
So do you feel like the students are really good students there? The typical student is a very good student?
I would say yes. And I think that's one of the things that surprised me has been, yes, they are very, very good students, but I was expecting like an intellect level that I couldn't even be on. Right. And I don't think it's been that at all. What it is rather is like very hard workers. Wake Forest, for better or for worse, gets the term workforce, which I think really does describe a lot of the students. They just work so hard, which is awesome. But I would say also every student has a really good balance, or almost every student has a really good balance of life where like we have a lot of fun, but we also like know when it's time to work and know when it's time to get our studies done.
Good.
So I would say the thing that sets the Wake Forest student apart intellectually is just how hard they work rather than like their knowledge, you know?
Yes. So you don't have to know everything coming in and be the perfect
Correct.
intellectual. Do you feel like having that culture of a strong work ethic really pushes you to thrive?
Definitely, yes. I remember
encourages you.
the first day I got there, I was like, wow, everybody here just like, they get it. Like they want to learn. They're like, they love this. And like it just, in me, it created a spirit of like, let's do this. Like I'm ready to learn. Like I want to grow. And I think the campus as a whole like fosters that, from the teachers to the students to the administrators and even like the tutors and the helper. Like everybody is just like we got this. Like let's go learn and let's like serve our world pretty much. So
Good.
it's really cool.
What is the way that you've met the most new friends? Was it an activity or in the dorm? I mean, how do you meet friends in college?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is just to put yourself out there, to go to a bunch of events, go to a bunch of, like the school, any school puts on a bunch of events for freshmen, so go to all of those because all other freshmen who don't have friends are going there as well. So like it really fosters a great place to meet people. I think also the cafeteria, I've met a lot of people just running into them and meeting them. I've gotten really involved in a couple of like ministries, and so I've met a lot of my closest friends through that, which is cool because you meet like-minded people there.
Right.
So like it's like really deep friendships. But I really like, I think if you put yourself out there and you're just open-minded, you can meet people anywhere. And like one thing that I've challenged myself to do is not stop meeting people, because there's always going to be new people to meet. So just continually having a mind of like, hey, I know it's not the beginning anymore, but what's your name? Like
Yeah.
what do you like to do? Kind of stuff like that. And just getting out of your comfort zone, I think, is the best way to really develop a friendship, but also like a friend group
Yes.
as well. So.
Well, I know that you're an outgoing guy, so my take is that would come a little easier to you than it would to some students. Do you have recommendations for if you're a quieter person by nature, I mean, really out of your comfort zone, away from home, you kind of like your handful of friends. What do you recommend for a person like that to kind of jump right in and get over the hump of the new environment and I don't know anybody?
Yes, yeah. That's a good question. I would say, first of all, don't overdo yourself. You don't want to just stress yourself out so much that you're miserable. But I would say for most people, the beginning is like a tough time in general, just because you don't know anybody, or you probably don't know anybody,
Right.
or know few people. And so find somebody that you can like start to just build a relationship with. Even if it's one person, just start to pour in. And I think at Wake Forest, they do that very well with like your hall. Your hall kind of does the whole first orientation week together. And so you have those people that you're living with, that you're in close contact with, that you can be like safe with. And you can spend a lot of time with them and just start to get to know them.
Okay.
And so that's a really cool opportunity for more introverted people to like not have to go to a party or go to an event, just kind of like be with their hall and hang out in the lounge spaces, and just kind of feel more comfortable.
Good.
I would say.
That's a great suggestion, and just kind of build as you go.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So far, and it sounds like it is, but is Wake Forest meeting your expectations?
No doubt. I would say in most ways it's exceeding my expectations, but it's definitely met every expectation. I've met just incredible people. The school has been difficult for sure, but like very good and very doable, like I told you. And the student to teacher ratio is like very much so what they tell you. Like it's very personal. I knew every single one of my teachers, so definitely has met all of my expectations for it.
Good. Is there anything that has surprised you about college, like being away from home or at Wake Forest or college in general?
Yes. I think so much of it, for me at least, was like, you never know exactly what to expect. And you hear like, I can preach all day on what it's like, but like, your experience will always be different. And so I think there was like a lot that surprised me, and a lot of it was like in great ways, you know? Like, I expected to meet people that I really connected with and loved, but like, I didn't expect to meet 100 plus that like I would consider like friends already, you know? And so like, I think there's been a lot of things like that like has just been so joyful and like fruitful, and so much is like credited to the Lord of just like being so just blessing so richly. And so but another thing that surprised me is kind of what I already said of like, I thought of Wake Forest as like a super smart school, and it is, no doubt. But again, it's that they work so hard. And so I was surprised honestly how like competent I was academically.
Good, well prepared,
yes,
right?
Yes, very much so. And so that was a good surprise for sure to me, to realize that like I do belong here. Like I can hang. So
yes, good. Well, that's a shout out to CAK.
For sure. All the teachers, you guys do an amazing job.
Can you tell us, you've hinted at a few, but are there any other things that you can think of that are unique to Wake Forest?
Yes, so I've gotten to join this group called the Traditions Council. And so I think that's one of the most unique thing is our traditions. We have some like really long-standing, like deep-seated traditions. Excuse me, one of them being every football game we win, we roll our own quad with toilet paper. And like, it's just like fun stuff like that like, I mean, I guess Auburn does that too, but you know, like unique stuff that you don't really get everywhere. Another is like some of the events we put on are really unique and like really fun. For example, one over Halloween was we set up booths, like each organization sets up booths on our like circular quad, and kids from around the county come in and like trick or treat on the quad. So stuff like that just makes it so unique and so like special. But yes, so much fun, exactly. But overall, I would say it's encompassed by our motto, which is in Latin, but it's pro humanitate, which is for humanity. And so I think that's what overall makes Wake Forest so unique and so special, is the fact that everything, all the intellect, all the hard work is done like for humanity, and is done to like make a difference in the world and like in the community around us. And so I think that's what's like one of the most special things about Wake Forest is just the fact that they're so driven to help. And I just love that. So.
Oh, yeah. That's a great thing to be known for. What advice would you give to juniors about picking a college, and even to sophomores who are starting down that road of taking the ACT a lot of times and thinking about what they might like in a college?
Yes. I would say, first of all, just try things out. Go to colleges, check them out, because you never like really know what you want, even like size-wise. Like you don't really know what you want until like you just go and like get a feel for it. And I think that was one of the things that like helped most in my college search, was just going there and like clearly seeing like, this is awesome, but it's not for me. Or like, man, this is so cool. Like I could totally see myself here. And I think when you're down there, it really just puts you, like you put yourself in the shoes of a student there and you realize, I would love this, or I don't think this is for me. And so I would say definitely take visits. CAK obviously gives you days where you can, so take advantage of those. And then, but also I would say don't stress yourself out, because like you said, I did apply to a lot of schools, and it was, I'm glad I did, but it was a lot. And there was a lot of applying and a lot of visiting, and I wouldn't change it, but I would say it was a lot. So kind of maybe online narrow down this looks cool, like let me visit here, and like kind of narrow down where you really could see yourself thriving, I would say.
Yes. Did you have any sort of a boundary, like I only want to be 5 hours or less from home. Did you have anything like that going?
Kind of subconscious, yes. I didn't really want to be too far away from home, but I think the furthest place I applied to was probably 6 hours away.
Okay.
But it definitely was a factor for me, just thinking like I would way rather be within 4 to 5 hours
Sure.
of home, just because
Yeah.
you can do it in one
Well,
day.
you got a great home.
So, exactly.
So
Exactly.
it makes that appealing to come back to.
For sure.
When you can.
For sure. Yes, ma'am.
Good.
And then one more thing, sorry. In the application process, I would say for juniors especially, start this summer. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but I didn't start in the summer, and my fall semester senior year was just busy. It wasn't bad, it was just busy. And so to make it much more fun for y'all, I would definitely advise you just to get as much done in the summer you can, and then really hit the ground running in August. So.
And I would add to that, get the capstone done in the summer so you don't have that hanging over your head in the fall as you're trying to also work on college apps.
For sure. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's good advice, I think. What advice would you give to the seniors? Maybe you've already given what you have, but do you have anything else that you think a senior at this point, while they have one semester to go, anything that they should do either here at CAK or to be really ready for the college experience?
Yes. I think there's so many different points of advice I could give, or not even I could give, but there are so many. But I would say, first of all, really enjoy the last semester, because it's a really sweet time, and you'll still definitely be friends with, most likely be friends with people from here forever, just because CAK builds that community that's so tight. But really enjoy being here every day. And then also I would say leave on good terms. Don't, you're so close, don't quit, just leave on good terms, leave here in peace. And then lastly, I would say when you start your college, like I said already, just put yourself out there, really push yourself and seek to grow. Don't just stay who you are. Try to change, try to continually
to grow.
Grow, exactly. So
that's great advice. I'm thinking about, I talked to a group of seniors just after graduation a couple years ago, and they all said the same thing, which is we rushed it. We tried to hurry up and get to graduation, and now the one thing we want is to go back and walk the halls again with that group of friends, have lunch with friends, be in class with friends, be in the halls with friends, be at games with friends. And they said, if we could go back, we would put that part in slow motion and really do what you said, enjoy each step along the way. And the finish strong, I think, is so important. It's hard to do because you're tired as a senior, but on graduation day, if you know that you went all the way through and you kept giving your good effort, you can feel really great about your experience. And also, it helps prepare you for what you're about to do in college. It's going to be amped up.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've tapered off and you're about to amp up, that can be very tricky.
It can be a hard change.
Yeah.
That's right. But
okay, well, great. Thank you so much.
of course.
Do you have any closing thoughts? A lot of these questions we've covered as we're talking about other things.
Yes. The only thing I would say is last kind of word of encouragement is just to continue to seek the Lord in college, because I've seen both ways already. Even just first semester, I've seen people who have said yes and people who have said no, and the difference is very clear and very dramatic. And I think the level of not only spiritual growth, but even just maturity growth that happens when you say yes to the Lord versus no is kind of night and day. And so I would just encourage y'all to say yes to the Lord in college and just every day after that. So that would be the last
because if
thought.
you seek the Lord, He will meet you. And that's great final note. Thank you so much for being here today. It was great information, very exciting. We're very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.